What's up? Welcome back to another Blu-ray movie collection update, whatever. I collect all kinds of formats, but we're doing the collection update today, right now, this video. So normally I do these live. I almost do these exclusively live at this point. But I got some new camera equipment in, and I thought it'd be fun to test out the new equipment and talk about some movies, and that's what I'm doing. So, if you're new to me doing these collection updates, I do these in basically 3 sections. Look for timestamps if you want for individual movies. But basically what I do is, because I don't have enough shelf space to put all my movies on my shelves, the things that go on the shelves are either me and my wife's favorite movies, collector's editions, what have you, right? Those are what goes onto the shelves. So the first section is stuff that goes into storage, and basically what I do is the cases go into like plastic tubs, like storage totes, you know? And then the movies themselves go into a CD binder, and that's how they get stored for now. Eventually, hopefully, the dream is one day to have enough space for the entire collection, but that's what we got going on right now. So that's up first. Then it's all the stuff that goes on shelf space, and then last but not least is some VHS tapes. So let's jump into the stuff going in storage. We're starting off with Bionicle 3. I found this at a half price books. I have all the Bionicle movies now. I'm super excited about that. Cool red case. Had the paperwork with it with the like Game Boy Advance advertisements and stuff, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, these Bionicle movies, I've seen a couple of them as kids. As kids. When I was kids, I've seen some movies. But I saw a couple of these as a kid, and I've just been collecting them because I've been able to find them really cheap. I found one at a thrift store, and a couple of them at like yard sales and stuff, so I now have all the Bionicle movies. Maybe it will be a video in the future, but who knows. I haven't rewatched any of them yet, so we'll see. But this Bionicle, I picked up The Dentist, put out by Vestron Video. This is arguably could be considered like a collector's edition to go into the shelf space. I'm not giving it shelf space, and I'll tell you why. And my reasoning why is because I finally watched The Dentist 1. These were movies I've never even heard of until I did my Ultimate Horror Tier List video, which if you haven't seen that, maybe check that out. It's an okay video. But I never heard about it, and then Vestron's like, hey, we're putting out a collection. I was like, cool, I can kill, you know, literally 2 birds with 1 stone. And then I watched the first one, and I hated it. I really hated The Dentist 1. I'd give it a 1.5 out of 10. If you're a fan of this movie, by any means of what I say shouldn't negate that feeling or admiration for it. But I could not stand this movie. So if you don't know what it's about, basically a dentist finds out his wife's cheating on him, then he goes down the rabbit hole of just torturing his patients and whatnot. And I found it so boring. Like, okay, so none of there's like no tension, there's like no horror here, right? For me, it plays itself so seriously, but it has nothing of weight to carry. And it doesn't come off as like, there's movies where you can take a really goofy story and play it straight-laced and it works tonally. Butt Boy is a great example of that. That's not what happens here. This isn't set up to be a goofy story. It's set up to be a pretty straight-laced horror movie, in my opinion, and I think it massively fails. The effects suck. I didn't care any much for any of the performances. The kills or thrills weren't either of much of either. And I just really could not get into that. I could not wait for the credits to roll in this one. Super disappointed. I might check out The Dentist 2 at some point, just because. But yeah, The Dentist 1 didn't do it for me. I really didn't like it. But that's The Dentist. I picked up The Fabelmans as I was going through my Oscar watches. And I did a short review on this. Was not a huge fan of this. Gave it a 4 out of 10. And I stand by that 4 out of 10. This was a, what I call it, a sugary, narcissistic, like puff piece, and I stand by that. Steven Spielberg makes a movie about Steven Spielberg making movies, basically. It's based on Spielberg's upbringing, and yeah, it's not that great in my opinion. I did not connect with it very much, especially not in the sense of like something like Hugo. Performances are decent, cinematography is okay, like there's a lot on a technical scale that's fine, but it's like a 2 hour and 30 minute movie or something like that, and I was just bored Bored through most of it. It never captured that spark or magic. It felt tonally inconsistent because sometimes it was super cheesy, but other times it tried to be really melodramatic, and it just did not work for me. So that's Fabelmans. Up next, I found Godzilla vs. Kong at a Goodwill. Now, I am not a fan of this movie. I actually think this was a massive waste of potential. I thought the Kong Skull Island movie was good. I thought the first Godzilla was good. King of Monsters was kind of disappointing. And I actually think this is the worst entry of the bunch. I picked it up because it was $1.99 at Goodwill, I think is what it was. And I do want to collect like all the kaiju Godzilla monster movies and stuff. And it had the slipcase. Although I cannot get this promo sticker off, so I'm going to have to try to work to get that off. But yeah, so Godzilla vs. Kong, I can add it to the collection, but not the biggest fan of it. I think I gave it a 4 out of 10 when I originally watched it. I would be open to a rewatch, but yeah, I remember it being pretty kind of lame. So up next, a buddy of mine was selling off a bunch of his stuff, and he reached out to me. He was like, "Hey man, you want to buy this stuff?" And I'm like, hell yeah. So there's going to be a mixture in of both piles here that are from him, but one of them is from JFK, the Oliver Stone movie. I've never seen this. I want to see this, but it is not a top priority for me. He was just selling it for cheap, and I was like, hey, I've not seen that, and I want to see that. I like Oliver Stone as a director. He's kind of hit or miss for me sometimes, but I do like him, and I've heard this movie is really, really good. So at some point, I will watch this. I just don't know when. Up next, this one I debated on putting on the shelves, but I decided, you know what, it can go in the binders for now. But that is Jungle Cruise on 4K. This was another part of that lot my buddy was selling. I actually really enjoyed this, like a lot more than I expected to. I really expected this to be like a 4 or 5 out of 10, and I would give it 6.5 to 7 on a good day. I don't know what it is about this movie. I'm going to be honest with you. The CGI is terrible. It looks 99% fake through the whole movie. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson acts like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Emily Blunt's good. What's his name's the villain? Jesse Plemons is the villain. Was really fun. Paul Giamatti has a fun little role in this, if I remember right. I don't know. There's something about the story, the action, and the adventure of it, and maybe I was just in the right mood. But I really enjoyed it. I had a good time with this one. Up next is a movie I really didn't think I'd ever find in the wild, but I found a Liberte from Albert Serra. This is a movie that's been on my watch list for quite a while. I found this at a Half Price Books, of all things. I can't show you that. This is, it's got a booklet, but I'm not going to show you the booklet. This is a movie that I've never had an experience like this before, where I watched the movie and I hated the movie, but I want to check out what else this director's done. This is like the only time this has happened. But the film is basically about a group of libertines, or really gross perverts, who are on the run, or on the lam, I suppose. And they're plotting and scheming, but they also spend a night in the woods just going through debaucherous sin. And it is super boring. Really, really, really boring. I don't know. It's like 2.5 out of 10. The cinematography was great. The wardrobe makeup was good. Performances were fairly good, some better than others. There's just a ton of really gross and exploitative stuff in this movie that takes up 90% of the screen time, and I just found it to be kind of uninteresting because you have talent here, right? But it's in service of like nothing. Nothing, you know what I mean? Like, there's not really much going on here that's really like pulling me in. That's like, oh, I really like this, or oh, you know, you do this or that. The story itself, like when they're plotting and scheming, it's more interesting. But then you just have these long, drawn-out exploitative scenes that exist in this movie, I suppose. And I don't know. I found a lot of it to be really boring. And yeah, that's Liberte. Should be a short review out, if not out already, coming soon. For my buddy also selling stuff from Severin, I picked up from him Lost Soul, The Doomed Journey of Richard Stanley's Island of Dr. Monroe. I heard a little bit about the story to what happened during the filming of this, in Ron Perlman's autobiography, which, by the way, if you listen to the audiobook, Ron Perlman himself narrates it, and it's really good. But this is a documentary on the island of Moreau with Richard Stanley and the controversy and just hot hell that was that set. And I haven't watched it yet, but I am excited to watch it eventually. It could go on the shelves if I really end up enjoying it. I like Richard Stanley's directorial style. Unfortunately, he's kind of seems like a piece of garbage from what I've read online. But I've never seen The Island of Dr. Monroe, so I would actually like to see The Island of Dr. Monroe before I see this. So we'll see. Up next is Medieval. The short review of this I think just came out on my channel, so check that out. But I got this on DVD instead of Blu-ray because Walmart's done this weird like backwards step where they only sell like DVDs now instead of Blu-ray. Like they only got women talking on DVD, not Blu-ray. There's another really big movie that they got just on DVD and not Blu-ray, and I was like, really? Tar, I guess, is one of them. Same thing here, except for the DVD to this was $7.50, where the Blu-ray was like $24 or something, I think, on Amazon. So I was like, you know what? I'll just get the DVD. Whatever. If I like it, I'll upgrade it. It was okay. My wife actually really enjoyed this a lot more than I did. It's about Ben Foster's character, who's based on Jan Zika. I can't remember how you pronounce it. But apparently he was a great commander that led no losses in battle. And he's hired to kidnap this princess because these two brothers are fighting to be a king. And the story is, for me, everything's really kind of underdeveloped in terms of the political strife and the forced or under pushed love plot, I guess. The love plot. Performances are pretty good. The action set pieces, it's that shaky cam quick cut, but there are some really brutal moments. I love the few scenes of the underwater fighting in this. I thought was really good. Michael Caine shows up. He's 90 years old. We looked that up. He is a really put together 90-year-old because he looks like he's still in his late 60s, early 70s. I was shocked when I found out he is 90. He was good in this. Ben Foster's good. There are some bad performances though. The cinematography is mostly good, but there are these weird stabilization shots that look really weird. Really, really weird. So I don't know what happened there. But overall, it's not bad. I give it a 5.5 out of 10. I kind of wish the political strife and love plot was developed a little bit more. But there are some decent action set pieces, some brutal moments, and like I said, my wife, I think she would give this a 7 or an 8. So check it out if you want to. And the last of this pile is Suicide Squad. Not the Suicide Squad, but the first one, the bad one. My buddy was selling this as well. This is David Ayer's attempt at Suicide Squad. And I gotta be honest with you, I don't hate this movie. I don't think it's good either. We went into theaters to watch this with everybody we know telling us how bad this was. And it was a little better than I expected it to be. It's still a 4 out of 10. But I did still kind of have fun with it. And he was selling it for cheap. And I was like, you know what? Sure, I'll take it. And I don't know if I'll ever rewatch it. But I have it if I do want to. And I don't know, man. In the hindsight of things did I really need to buy this? No. He sold it to me for a good deal. Yeah. I don't know. You know, though, in all honesty, I would probably rewatch this. If not to laugh at it, you know? Alright, now these are the things that are going on the shelves. These are... I actually think I've watched majority of these. I was about ready to lose a pile off the table here. But first up is April in the Extraordinary World. A short review will be coming soon if it's not out already. This was a find at a half-price books. Unfortunately, there's a little bit of damage here. Post me, crop in. But I really enjoyed this one. I thought this was a lot of fun. So it's a French animation about April and her... Is it extraordinary or extraordinary? Is it like a tomato kind of thing? Miyazaki meets Pixar, says Tasha Robinson of The Verge, and I would say that's actually probably pretty accurate. But anyway, so April is a young girl. Her parents are scientists. They live in this steampunk world dystopian when her parents go missing. So she's kind of orphaned, living with her talking cat, and they try to find the serum, the immortality or whatever, the cure-all serum that her parents were working on, as she's being hunted down by this black cloud, I suppose. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. I think it's fun. The animation is beautiful. I love the world and environment that it's in. There's some schmutz on the cover. The animation, like I said, is gorgeous. I thought the voice acting was great. It has a great French cast, but it also has a great English cast. So I don't think it matters what version you watch. Yeah, 8 out of 10 for me. Really, really loved it. It was just a fun, whimsical movie. Yeah, it's really predictable, but I'm fine to ride along on this ride even if I can see things coming, because I find the world and the characters to be so fun to run along with. So really recommend it. Up next is Arthur and the Invisibles. Found this at a half-price books for like a couple dollars, not very much. This is a screen-to-console episode coming soon. I have the PS2, it's behind me. I have the PS2 Arthur game. But yeah, this is a movie. I didn't know these Arthur and the Invincibles was directed by Luc Besson, guy most notably known for like The Fifth Element and Lucy and Leon the Professional and La Femme and Nikita. I don't remember how to say that one. But, and Valerian for what it's worth. But yeah, so I've always wanted to kind of see this even as a kid. I think it's like a hybrid, like 3D animation, 2D, like look at those creatures on the cover. Like that is just creepy, right? But yeah, it's going to be a future screen to console episode. So that's why I picked it up, and that's why it's going on the shelves, because it's going to be in a video and I don't want to have to dig it out later. So haven't seen it yet, but will eventually. The Banshees of Inisherin. This movie is awesome. I'm kind of sad it didn't get any Oscar wins. It got nominated for a bunch of them, like 8 or 9, but it didn't snag any of them, which sucks. This movie is great. I love this movie. I can't wait to watch it again. I give it an 8.5 out of 10. Could go up to a 9. Could go down to an 8. I doubt it'll go below an 8. Could go above a 9 though. Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell have some of the best on-screen chemistry I can think of. Like, I just love to see them together. I also like In Bruges. I don't have In Bruges yet. If I'm saying that wrong, I don't really care that much. The film is basically about Colin Farrell's character is friends with Brendan Gleeson's character until just one day Brendan Gleeson decides, I don't want to be friends with Colin Farrell's character anymore because he's dull. And that's like the whole running gag here. It's great. It's a dark comedy that weaves in through like really hilarious and humorous tones, and mixes that with a really strong sense of emotional characters and some good biting drama. That I love it. It's a great balancing act, and it does it really well. It's shot beautifully, has great performances from the whole board here. Carrie Condon, I was really rooting for to get the supporting actress. Barry Keoghan was also really, really good in this. And yeah, it's just a really, really fun movie. Really, really dug it. Up next is Boy in the World. Found this at a half-price books. And I've always been kind of interested in this, and I just finally decided to get it and watch it. And this is a dense movie. This is a dense, chunky movie. It's virtually a silent film about a boy wandering through a city looking for his father. And there's a lot of messages and themes here. This is one of those movies that I feel like you probably need to watch a couple times to really peel back what's going on here. Yeah, there is a basic overall story, but there's messages here about like colonialism, capitalist greed, destruction of the planet, the slave labor mentality, and like there's a lot going on here, all told visually without like any dialogue. It says so much, but without saying anything at all, and I think that's pretty impressive. Visually, this film looks great. It has this like almost colored pencil crown kind of drawing to it that just looks awesome. The music's great. I'm giving this a 7.5 as of right now. I've only seen it once. There should be a short review out or coming. I don't know when. but really enjoyed Boy in the World and definitely recommend it. I will be watching this again. I feel like this is one that's going to climb probably every time I watch it. But it's also like only like 80 minutes long. It's like an hour and 21 minutes. So it's a really quick watch and I really liked it. Up next is a movie that I'm surprised how much I love this movie. And this is a movie that I had never seen before, and my buddy, it was part of that lot he was selling, but it is The Dark Crystal. I think they upgraded to the 4K, and I'm like, I've never even seen this. I bought the DVD at a yard sale a few months back on the intention of just watching the movie. And they're like, hey, we have this really cool digibook we're selling for like next to nothing. Like, do you want it? I'm like, yes, please. So if you're watching this, my guy, I don't want to say your name because I don't know if you or your wife want your name out on YouTube. But first off, thanks for all the support and watching, but also thanks for the hookup on the movies. I've bought from them a couple times. They've always had the hookup, and I super appreciate it. But this is one we actually had a movie night with The Neverending Story. And see, I was never a big fan of Labyrinth with David Bowie. So that's why I've always put off The Dark Crystal. Because I thought, oh, I probably won't like this either. This was awesome. I really enjoyed this. I think I gave it a 7 or 7.5 on Letterboxd. Or, well, you know, convert that to stars, IMDb, whatever. But, like, this is one that, like, I loved it. Like, I really enjoyed this. Like, I would 100% watch this again. I definitely think it has its issues. I don't think it's going to go up to, like, an 8. It could. I don't know if it will. But I really, really enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun with this. And it does make me want to check out the Dark Crystal show that I'll probably watch eventually. If you've not seen it, it's a hero's journey. It's about a young boy. I can't remember his name now off the top of my head. I can't remember his name. It was Geflings was I know what they were called. And he goes out to reconnect the shard with the crystal to stop the evil people from doing their evilness. And yeah, there's some great childhood trauma in here. If you have seen it, I'm sure it gave you some childhood trauma. But just the level of puppetry is amazing. There's like no real people on screen. It's all puppets and like a puppet world. And it looks awesome. Like just the designs and how this movie goes about is just so cool. Super recommend Dark Crystal. Thanks again. Up next is Decision to Leave. To me, this movie got snubbed for a foreign Oscar film nomination. I thought this movie was fantastic. It's directed by Park Chan-wook, also known to direct like Old Boy and Stoker, The Handmaiden, which I haven't seen Handmaiden yet. I really want to. Thirst, which I still haven't seen, but I own it. I need to watch it. Basically, I just need to like sit down and like burn through this dude's filmography. But Decision to Leave is his newest film. It was released by Mubi in this kind of cool clear case, but it's kind of just a bare bones release. It does have some special features in the terms of introduction with Park Hee-lee and Tang Hwa. I shouldn't even try. It's got special features, VFX reel behind the scenes in cons, moments of Decision to Leave behind the scenes, interview with the director, and New York Film Festival talks Park Chan-wook. But this movie was so good. It is a detective story about this detective when this man ends up murdered, or supposedly, and he suspects his ex-wife of potentially doing the murder, and he kind of falls madly in love with her, and kind of the strife of this relationship and her manipulation, and it's awesome. It's like this teetering murder mystery thriller that I love this genre as a whole, but the way that like information is presented, the way that the film is shot, and the attention to detail and the cinematography just allows you to just go, you know what I mean, just get wrapped up into it, and you kind of get those visual cues, and you kind of get those like actor performance like cues and stuff to like, you're like, oh, you're piecing together the thread here. And yeah, it's awesome. Really, really love it. Great performances. Like I said, the cinematography is amazing. I really loved almost like every aspect of this. It's an 8 out of 10. Could go up on a second viewing. Really loved it. Up next is Dragon Ball Z Super Hero. This is the newest Dragon Ball movie. I have not seen this yet because I have not seen any of Super. Now, I was told you don't really need to watch any of Super before going into this. However, I don't want to watch this until I've seen Super. I do have Super on Blu-ray. I bought the Steelbook collection thing, if you've seen that update from a few months ago. So I do have all of Super. I just haven't watched it yet. Me and my wife are going through, she's not seen anything Dragon Ball, so we are going through all of Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Z, into Super. Maybe we'll bounce into GT, I don't know, haven't decided yet. But we are like more than halfway through Dragon Ball right now, and then we get into Z, and then we'll get into Super to where I will finally watch this. I will not release my best of 2022 until I watch this though, so bear with me on that. But I am very excited to watch this. I've heard nothing but great things, and considering one of my all-time favorite characters, Piccolo, is front and center, I'm very excited to watch this. Up next is a movie that was a complete surprise, and that is Feed Me. Sometimes when I go into Walmart, I like to look at their straight to DVD section and be like, well, that seems interesting. And probably 90% of the time they suck. However, so I read, like, bear with me, okay? One for the Sickos, a spooky party movie made by and for deranged perverts, from Secret Handshake. That's a quote. Following the death of his wife, a broken man spirals into an abyss of night terrors and depression and finds himself in the home of a deranged cannibal who convinces him to take his own life in the most horrific way imaginable. Like Ted Lasso stumbled into the Hannibal universe and developed a taste for human flesh. And so I'm like, alright. So if I look this up on IMDb and it's higher than a 4, I'm buying it. And it was higher than a 4, and this was awesome. First off, I do want to say it was really cool that Neil Ward actually commented on my review of this, because I think he gave an amazing performance. This movie was like this weird sleeper cell, where it started off and I was like, oh, this is not going to be very good, right? I'm like, this is not going to be very good. Neil Ward sits down and he's doing this weird southern accent thing, and I'm like, I'm not buying this. Like, this is just strange. But this is a movie that as it unravels, as it unfolds, you're just like, what the, you know what I mean? You're just like, what the is going on? And that's like what I found to be so great about this movie, was the fact that it kind of starts off and your expectations are like, oh, this is going to kind of suck. But then it just keeps spiraling. And as it spirals, things start to piece together. Neil Ward's, there's a moment with his character that I was just like, that is so awesome. Like, that is so well done. So great, to the point where I was like, no, Neil Ward actually like blew this movie out of the water, because his performance was so good. Like, that's like the thing is, like, he started off and I was like, man, that's a really bad like southern accent. I didn't buy it. But as the film spiraled and you learn more about his character and stuff, you're actually like, wow. And that's like the thing is, it builds into this just where you go, wow. The gore effects are really well done. They're brutal. Yeah, there are some moments that's, you know, green screeny, that are CG, that you can kind of tell. But I feel like a lot of this movie is practical, and it looks great. I want a Blu-ray of this really bad. Please, somebody make a Blu-ray of this. I would buy it instantly. It's a 7 out of 10 for now. I will definitely be watching it again before I make my best of 2022 list. It has a good chance of making that list. This is a movie that I have thought about for a while. I did a short review of it. Just really enjoyed it, and it's $10 on the DVD. I don't know if it's on streaming, but give this one a shot. I know this isn't going to be for everybody, but I do think it is worth checking out. It is fun. I really enjoyed it. Up next is Goodbye Don Glees. This is a movie that completely blew me away. I loved it. It's like Stand By Me meets The Goonies in a way. In a way. I guess the closest thing it has to The Goonies is the camaraderie of like the kid group kind of thing. It's kind of more Stand By Me-ish, I guess. But basically, it's about these group of kids. 2 of them call themselves the Don Glees Club, basically. One goes away to, I think, Tokyo, and he comes back. He's kind of more mature. He kind of thinks this whole thing is kind of dumb. But the guy who's like kind of clinging on to the Don Glees Club has befriended a kid named Drop, and they are building up for their yearly fireworks show because they couldn't like really didn't want like fit in. They didn't go to the big fireworks show, so they always had their little fireworks show. So our main character here buys a drone to film it, and the drone wanders off into the forest. there ends up being a fire in the forest, and their classmates are blaming them for causing the fire. So they go off into the woods to find the drone, because the drone would have a camera to prove their innocence. And it's about their journey through there. It's about growing up. It deals with some really heavy themes, thematically and emotionally. The chemistry between the three boys is excellent. It's so well done. They built all three characters amazingly, and I just loved it. I just got wrapped up into it. The cinematography and animation is stunning. It looks so filmic. It looks so good. Like, this is an amazing looking movie, and it's never like that hyped up. It's an anime, but it's never like, yeah, there's exaggerations, but it's never anything that doesn't feel unbelievable, if that makes sense. It's very grounded. And they had a moment, though, in this movie where if they would have ended on that moment, this would be like a 9, 9.5. It'd be one of my favorite films of the year. Unfortunately, the film keeps going. And then it has another moment where you go, oh, if you end there, that's going to be a really good ending too. Well, then it keeps going. And then the actual ending we get was kind of lackluster, where you're like, huh. If they would have ended on that first spot, it would have been an incredible and powerful ending that would have left you thinking for a long time, I think. It was a moment that I was like, man, if they ended right here, and they kept going, I was like, if they would have ended on that spot, I'm sure if you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. But it would have brought, it would have had such a closure on that ending. And then it keeps going, like I said, which I'm fine with. And it reaches another point that would have been another great ending that wouldn't have been as good as the first, but it still would have been a very profound and very impactful ending. And then it just keeps going. So I do kind of wish there was a bit of a difference in editing, but still an 8 out of 10. Super recommend it. Next is Inuo. This is a... what does it actually say on the back? An electrifying, headbanging animated rock opera. A soaring glam rock opera set in 14th century Japan. I'm down. It's good. I gave it a 6, I think. Or did I give it a 6.5? I can't remember. But I have listened to the soundtrack of this several times outside of the film. The music in this is really good. So what it's about is basically a deformed man and a blind... I can't remember the name of that instrument. Biwa? Biwa? I think that's what it's called. You can see there on the back. They kind of meet up and start playing music that is like from the spirits of the dead. And as they do, the deformed man starts to become healed. But again, of course, certain powers that be don't like it. So it kind of says a lot in through its music. But I think the music presentation is great. My problem is it's too short. And they spend too much of the time not getting into the actual story. So there's probably a good 45, 50 minutes of this movie. It's just building to the musical sections. And that part's fine. It kind of builds characters. But then when you get into these musical sections, it's just like a long montage of music. And then it ends. And you're like, okay, what I would like to had more of this second act, the musical act. I would have liked to had some more story and development there. Some things feel like they just come to an abrupt close. They don't feel like they get real closure. But the animation's great, the music's great, and it is a fun story that says some interesting things, and 6 out of 10. I would recommend it. Up next, I ordered some things from A24, and that is Lamb. I picked up Lamb. I got these just on Blu-ray because I don't have a 4K player currently. I need to get a 4K player. I've thought that for a while. I need to get a 4K player. But I picked up Lamb. This movie was great. I really loved it. I did a short review on it. I gave it an 8 out of 10. And these editions are wicked awesome from A24. I like the nice soft shell packaging and stuff. Comes with a nice little booklet with some storyboarding, some artwork. That's all to this one? I thought there was... Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's mainly just storyboarding and stuff and extra pictures, but I thought there was script and stuff in this, or interview or something, but I guess not. But yeah, it's really cool packaging, cool release. A24's done a couple of their movies as you can only buy it from A24. So I kind of hope that's not a trend because they're really expensive. They're $35 a piece just for the regular Blu-ray, maybe 36. I can't remember, to be honest with you. And the shipping is kind of high too. So, but I will say, this is probably the best packaging I've ever had when it comes to shipping a movie. Like, each one of these movies, I only got 2 of them, was individually packaged in like their own cardboard box, so there's like no risk of damage, so that's cool. But Lamb is awesome. It's about a woman who, a woman and her husband kind of having some relationship issues, finds a hybrid, half human, half lamb baby out in their lamb field, and they decide to raise it on their own. And it's weird. It has some great cinematography, some great effects, some great performances. It's weird, but it's really good. Also from A24, I picked up Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. This is really the reason why I placed the order, because I wanted Marcel, but I was like, I can also get Lamb. I also thought about getting the Midsummer Director's Cut, but I didn't. I will eventually, as long as it stays in stock, but I really enjoyed this one. It is super cute. It was nominated for Best Animated Feature. I did a short review on it, gave it a 7.5 out of 10. Could go up on a second watch. I will definitely be watching it again before my best of 2022 list. My wife absolutely loved this movie. And, you know, it's not a movie... Yeah, this one has a little bit of wording to it, but, like, not a ton. It's a movie that... it's a movie that could go up on a second watch, is what I'm trying to say, I think. But it's cute. It's basically a pseudo-documentary, a mockumentary, about this guy who goes to an Airbnb and he finds Marcel the Shell with shoes on, and he starts to film it. He posts it online, it kind of goes viral. Marcel's family ended up disappearing for a while, so they're trying to find the family, and it's super cute. The blending of stop animation and like real live action is really well done. I love the designs of the characters. I love how the characters, the innovation of how these characters live in this world, I thought was great. And yeah, just had a really good time with it. Super recommend it. It was fun. Up next is a movie that just completely flabbergasted me, completely blew me away, and that is The Menu. This was an amazing movie. My wife wanted to see this. I was like, I'll watch it. Yeah, it's got Ralph Fiennes in it, Nicholas Hoult, Anna Taylor-Joy, Anya Taylor-Joy, Jeezy Pete's. I really went into this knowing nothing about this. I was just expecting it to be like a chef drama thing, and that would be it. And as I watched this movie, I was just constantly like, what? Like on the edge of my seat, because I'd never seen a trailer, knew nothing about it. And I think that's like the best way to go about into this movie. So if you've not seen The Menu, you've not seen my review of it, skip to the next movie, because I'm going to talk about it, and I think you should go in knowing very little about this movie. So basically, I didn't expect this to be like a thriller, like murder show thing. And when something happens in this movie, no spoilers, I was just like, what is going on? And it just keeps going. And I was, like I said, just so wrapped up into it. This is a movie that for months after watching it, I still think about this movie to this day. There are scenes in this movie that I still think about to this day. Ralph Fiennes, I think, was completely snubbed for an Oscar. I think his performance was fantastic in this. Same with Anna Taylor-Joy. Even Nicholas Hoult, to an extent, was absolutely amazing in this. Hong Chau's also in this from The Whale. She shows up in this. But this movie was just so fantastic. The cinematography is great, but the thing that I loved about it was how the story unfolds. It presents this driplet of information that just makes the story so engaging and enthralling that you're just like constantly like just glued to it. Not to mention that the characters are also a diverse group of interesting people that, yeah, I loved it. 9 out of 10, super recommend it, loved it. More from that pile that my friend was selling is Moana, the 4K Steelbook. My wife loves this movie. I think it's pretty good. I think I give it a 6 out of 10. I've only seen it the one time in theaters, but I have caught glimpses of it where my wife has rewatched it and stuff. So I was glad to finally pick up like a 4K of it. And the cool Steelbook too. So thanks, man. This movie, if you don't know about it, is... what's it about exactly? It's like Moana I can't remember the base of the story. Like, what's the conflict? I know there's something to do with her grandma. I can't remember the conflict of the story. Holy crap. Like, I remember certain scenes and segments, but yeah, like the main conflict, like why she finds the Rock's character, I can't remember. Someone let me know. I guess I'm gonna have to rewatch this. I really can't remember. Anyway, so yeah, Moana. I guess I'll have to rewatch it. This next movie is a movie that I watched on the Criterion Channel when I had my trial, so I could watch EO before the Oscars. And this was a movie that by the subscription, I don't know why I said document, by the synopsis, the description of it, that just really intrigued me, and I watched it and just completely loved it. I can't wait to watch this again. I want my wife to watch this with me. But it is Neptune Frost. I will have a review of this out at some point, a short review anyway. I don't know. It could turn into a longer review. Who knows? There's a lot going on here. Basically, it's about this character's brother who gets killed in a cobalt mine. He goes on to form this hacker coalition, but it has really great music, some really fun and trippy visuals that look stunning. And yeah, I just found this movie to be puzzling and absolutely captivating. And I can't wait to rewatch it. If you've not heard of Neptune Frost, I'm going to keep this short because this could be a bigger video. It could just be a short review. I don't know yet. If you haven't heard of this movie, look up the trailer. If it seems interesting to you, definitely check it out. But yeah, this was one I watched on the Criterion Channel and then immediately purchased it. So, like, after I finished watching it, I went, bye. So, it's good. I just can't read very well. Up next is Onward. This is a movie that made my best of 2022 list. I know I'm in the minority of saying that I really love this, but I did really love this. And I found this it's a 3-disc set that I found at a vendor market for $3. So I was like, cool, I'll finally buy this. I have just been putting it off. I thought about buying it at one point and decided not to. But for $3, I was like, I'm not passing up. You're coming home with me. You're coming home with me. But I really enjoyed this. Like I said, I know a lot of people didn't like it, but it kind of reminded me like what I liked about Pixar as a kid. It's also maybe a bit of a biasry because if that's a word, because it's set like in a D&D universe. And while I've never played D&D, I am fascinated with it. I would love to play D&D. Super interested. Love that kind of like mystical fantasy worlds. And yeah, really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's kind of a cliche story. Yeah, it has a lot of the same road traps that Pixar has in their stories, but it's told in a fun universe with some good characters, and I really liked it. I think I originally gave it an 8.5. I would probably lower it to an 8, but I still really liked it. Piggy. Picked up Piggy on DVD. This does have a Blu-ray, but I found the DVD at Walmart for $10, and I really wanted to see it, and so I decided to go ahead and get it, and if I really liked it, I'd upgrade it to Blu-ray at some point, and I will upgrade to this to Blu-ray at some point, because I did really like it. I did a review on this. I think I gave it a 7. I'm pretty sure I gave it a 7. But yeah, really enjoyed it. It's about a girl who kind of gets bullied for her weight. They call her Piggy and stuff. When she witnesses something she probably wasn't supposed to witness. And now the town's trying to figure out what happened to these missing girls. All while this creepy dude is kind of obsessed with her. And it's good. It's good. It's not... It's kind of mislabeled. This is not a horror movie, in my opinion. This is a drama that has some horror elements to it. That has some dark tones and some, I guess, taboo moments. But this is, like, to me, a first and foremost drama. And I think that might have been why I was a little disappointed in it when I first watched it, because this is heavily marketed as a horror movie. I mean, look at the cover. Right? Like, that's not a good representation, in my opinion, of this movie. Again, like I said, there's horror elements here, but I don't think it's a forefront horror movie. So I definitely want to rewatch it, especially now knowing, you know, a lot of what it is going into it. But yeah, it's good. Cinematography is great. Performances are pretty good. But yeah, it's not really a horror movie, but I would definitely want to watch it again. Steel and Lace. This was a gift from a buddy of mine for Christmas. And I knew nothing about it. He said that I'd probably like it, and he was right. I had a total blast with this. A short review should be coming out or already out, I don't know. But yeah, I had a total blast with this. By Vinegar Syndrome. It's about a girl who gets assaulted. Her assaulters get away scot-free. She kills herself, and then years later, the assaulters wind up dead. This is a sleazy Death Wish cyborg movie. That was a lot of fun. The thing is, like, this movie really surprised me because it's actually really funny. It's kind of like a horror comedy in a way. And it's not unintentionally funny. It's intentionally funny. There's punchlines here. There's editing jokes in the same vein of like Edgar Wright. There are some really funny moments in this movie. And then the gore effects are pretty well done. They some of them go hard in the paint, not gonna lie. But it's just great. It's an hour and a half movie that felt like 30 minutes because it flew by. Yeah, the performances are kind of bad. There's some audio issues. There's some weird ADR that don't match up. The music's kind of just, you know, standard subpar cheesy grindhouse music. But this is a perfect party movie. It is super fun. This would be a great party viewing, and I definitely recommend it. I'd give it a 7.5. 7.5. What did I rate it? 7.5, somewhere in between there. Really loved it. Thank you. More from that lot I bought from my friends. Tangled. This is the 4K Blu-ray. I finally watched this after we bought it from them. I had never seen this, and I enjoyed it. I think I gave it a 6 or 6.5 out of 10. I can't remember. But I did. I enjoyed it. It was pretty fun. The music, I think, is pretty bland and forgettable. But there is some fun moments and some funny moments. The characters are good. The animation's pretty good. Yeah, it was better than I expected. Up next is Tar. I was really rooting for Cate Blanchett in like the loosest slipcase possible. I was really rooting for Cate Blanchett to win the best performance. To me, she is given probably the second best performance of the year in this movie. She was just awesome as Lydia Tar. This is a fake biography. People really thought Lydia Tar was a real person. I did too for a second until I was like, wait, hold on. Let me look a little bit more into this. But it is like a fake biography about Lydia Tar, who's this person who is a well-renowned composer. I guess the downfall of her career, you could say. Beautifully shot, great cinematography. Like I said, Cate Blanchett was amazing in this. The music's great. You can actually tell it's people playing the music, or at least it looks like people are actually playing the music. The editing is great. There's like so much like... This is one of those movies where I feel like on a second viewing, because everything feels so purposeful here, that on a second viewing you can really start to see like a lot of like the details and everything like that come to light. I'm definitely going to watch this again. I love this movie. 8 out of 10 for now. Definitely could go up. I really doubt it will go down, but really enjoyed Tar. Don't think I've done a short review of it yet. I picked up the 4K Steelbook of They Live. This is a movie I put off buying for a really long time because I could never find the original slipcase. Dog barking. I could never find the original slipcase on the Scream Factory. So when I found the Steelbook, I was like, good enough. This movie's super fun. I love John Carpenter. This would be up there as one of my more favorites of John Carpenter. Roddy Piper was a fun movie star that I wish got more roles than he did. But yeah, it's great. Great one-liners in here. You know, it's about he finds these glasses that exposes the real world to him, and you know, he takes on the real world. So check this one out if you haven't already. This one's a classic. Really love it, and the Steelbook is wicked cool. Our boy B. Fraser winning the Oscar for Best Performance in The Whale, and it was super deserved because I think this has been the best performance of 2022. It was absolutely stunning. Really loved this movie. Very few movies have got me this emotional as The Whale has. I blubbered like a baby at the end of this. I thought it was absolutely fantastic and really, really loved it. Definitely check out The Whale if you haven't already. Like I said, B. Fraser was amazing in this. And yeah, it's, you know, it's about, he's a morbidly obese man who is trying to repair his relationships, and it goes through a week of his life And like I said, I blubbered like a baby in this. It's so good. It's all about mental health and self-destruction. And, you know, he's the whale. He's this big guy because all of the burden and guilt that he lives with is external, basically. It's manifested externally, and it's awesome. I love this movie. Can't wait to watch it again. Not looking forward to it because I'll probably cry again, but it's awesome. And the last of the, before we get into VHS, oh, I guess we have TV series to talk about. But before the next couple segments, I guess, the last thing I purchased from my friends, Zootopia. I really like Zootopia. I haven't seen it since theaters, wouldn't mind rewatching it. But glad to own it, and I like it. I like the world it developed. It was a fun cast of characters. I liked the punchlines they would work with the other animals. I think we all know about the sloths at the DMV and whatnot, but yeah, it was fun. I liked it. Would like to watch it again. I believe there's a sequel coming out, so we'll see. On to, I guess we have a miscellaneous before we go into TVs, and that is Volume 1 of the Mickey and Minnie Shorts collection. This is the Walmart exclusive that comes with a collectible pin, just so you can see the back of it. I guess the back of the DVD, Blu-ray is the same. I'll probably collect these as they come out. I guess there's another set of them coming out. This whole big box, right, is just for this wee little pin. I don't have autofocus turned on, so I'm just going to crop in. But yeah, this whole giant box for that wee little pin. Walmart has released, I guess Disney has released a bunch of their movies in this kind of gray box case, and a lot of them come with pins. I'm only really interested in, one, if they do like certain reprints. I doubt it, but if they did, I'm just kind of interested in the short films. This one comes with Mr. Mouse Takes a Trip, Mickey's Delayed Date, Figaro and Frankie, The Little Whirlwind, Hawaiian Holiday, On Ice, Brave Little Tailor, Bath Day, Through the Mirror, and to me, one of the most important ones, Steamboat Willie is on this one. So I'm glad to own this little collection of shorts. Haven't really checked any of them out yet. I have seen several of these beforehand though, but it is cool to own them. And like I said, if I know they're coming out with another set, if they continue these like short sets, I'm probably just going to collect them as they come out because they're pretty cool to have. So that's that. On to the TV shows. I picked up the complete series of Cowboy Bebop. This was like 15 bucks on Amazon for the complete series. So I'm like, sweet. I have not taken out of the shrink wrap yet. This is a series that I would like to watch again with my wife. She's never seen it. I've seen it. I love Cowboy Bebop. I think it's awesome. So, did I say Bebop earlier? I feel like I did. But Cowboy Bebop is sweet. I actually kind of enjoyed the live action show, although the anime is way better. I don't think the live action show was very truthful to its source material, but I did think it was kind of fun for what it was. But this show is great. It's an anime classic. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. And like I said, I would like to rewatch this with my wife, maybe when we get through the Dragon Balls. And then up next is, I picked up all 3 volumes of MPD Psycho. So this is a series I had never even heard about. My wife found volume 1 at Half Price Books. And I was like, what is this? It is multiple personality detective Psycho, but it is directed by Takashi Miike. The whole series is by Takashi Miike. And I was like, what? So I was like, you're coming home with me. So I took this one home, and then, because originally I was like, I don't know what this is. And I didn't look too much at it. I was just like, Takashi Miike, something I've never heard of. I'm just going to get it. Then I realized it's 2 episodes of a 6-episode miniseries. So I was like, all right, so I got to track down the other ones. This one's not in the best of shape. Definitely could use a new case. And unfortunately, I don't have the slipcase because I got the slipcase with the other ones. But I ordered 2 and 3. So I have all 6 episodes of MPD Psycho. I'm planning on watching this here soon. I just haven't yet. I've been getting through some other stuff. But I do want to watch this here soon. It's like, I think each episode's around 40 to 50 minutes. So I am excited to check it out at some point. But again, just something I'd never heard of and came across it. And so I'm excited about it. I love Takashi Miike. Let's talk about VHS tapes, shall we? I picked up, these are not in alphabetical order. I picked up Lake Placid for $1 at a flea market. Lake Placid is fun. I don't own this on Blu-ray yet. I really should. But I actually grabbed this because I didn't have service where I was at. And my buddy is big into alligator movies. So I was like, I'm going to grab this because if he don't have it, then I'm just going to keep it for myself. He had it, so I kept it for myself. I found at that same flea market, Godzilla King of Monsters. This one was not $1. I believe this one was $3. Yeah, this are stuff that I think would just be fun to find on VHS. I don't really care if I have it on Blu-ray or VHS or whatever. I think I have this one on Blu-ray though. But yeah, I found it on VHS, so I thought that was pretty cool. I'm going to start getting a lot pickier with the VHSs that I get. And I think you'll see that in this stack here. So the stuff I want to get is either old animation, old horror, or like just weird stuff that isn't anywhere else. I found a sealed copy of Tarantula at the same flea market for $5. This is a watermarked, still sealed, brand new copy. Never heard of this movie, but again, like this is something like I would want to collect on VHS, and it's like I said, still sealed. So picked up Dolemite on VHS. I actually got this one off eBay. I'm gonna collect the Rudy Ray Moore tapes, 4 of them in particular, because I want to do a Rudy Ray Moore video. And if I do the video, I would like to get the tapes that are in this video. I just noticed something, and I wonder if the seller on eBay did this so it'd sell for more. But where you can see where the box would have like white worn edges, like take for an example this Godzilla box, right? You can see where it's got the worn edges and stuff. They took a Sharpie and colored it in. I just now noticed that. I don't really care that much. The tape is in amazing condition. I don't really care that much, but it's just something I noticed. That's weird. I wonder if they did that so they could sell it for more. They even did it to the front where it's red. They did it to the front where it's red. That's weird. Huh. Whatever. You know, whatever. Half-price books, I found Pink Floyd's The Wall for a couple dollars. This does not have a Blu-ray, which is upsetty spaghetti. I would like to get this on DVD though at some point. I haven't seen this movie in years, and when I did watch it, I watched it on either VH1 or MTV. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. But I remember always liking this just because of how trippy and weird it is. So I'm excited to, I guess, own it. I thought this would be a cool one to have on VHS. But I would like to have it on DVD or potentially Blu-ray would be nice. But to just rewatch it, I think would be really fun. So gonna have to check this one out again at some point. But yeah, have it on VHS. So that's pretty cool. Another one that I found for a couple bucks that I thought would be cool to own on VHS is Foxy Brown. I don't own this on Blu-ray yet. I want to at some point. Blaxploitation is something I would like to dive a little bit more into. And, you know, it's Pam Grier, it's Foxy Brown. It's a super well-known movie. Just cool to find it for a couple bucks on VHS. A movie that I don't really want to watch on VHS. I would rather watch it on Blu-ray, but the Millennium Actress. I've had the Blu-ray in my Amazon cart and wish list for quite a while. Like Perfect Blue, Tokyo Godfathers. He's a filmmaker that I've wanted to get more into anyway. But actually, I found this, and this was a complete impulse buy. We were checking out at Half Price Books, and this was in their like not on shelf yet pile of stuff by the cash register, and I was like, oh, neat. And it was like $4.99. I was like, okay, cool. The tape is in pretty cool condition, but like, check this out. It's got these little stickers. It was a rental copy. It's got the zone, wherever that's at. I don't even know if that's even local. I don't think so. So pretty cool. Pretty cool little find. Like I said, would rather watch this on Blu-ray, but again, this is like the kind of stuff I would want to collect on VHS anyway. I wouldn't mind watching this on VHS. And then the last thing of this update, this is a pic of my wife's, and that is Casper meets Wendy. I believe this is only on VHS. You can quote me if I'm wrong. But Casper and Wendy, this was like her childhood movie. So when we found this for like, I think it was $2.99 at Half Price Books, she wanted to get it, and so we got it. And yeah, that is this Blu-ray update. movie collection update. I don't know why I keep saying Blu-ray update. There's other formats here. This is this movie collection, so I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, I normally do these live. Going into the future, I'm going to be doing these live. I just wanted to test out some of my new camera and audio equipment that I got and see kind of how it does. And I hope you enjoyed it anyway. And if you have, you can like, subscribe, whatnot. But also, if you want to support the channel, there are channel memberships available too that you can check out that hopefully you like the perks that are there. If you want to support that way, that is an option. But that has been this update, and I will catch you with the next update whenever I get enough stuff that is worth talking about. So I will catch you later. Peace.